Pascal Croft never thought 6 hours in the air could feel like 6 years in hell. But at 35,000 feet somewhere between New York and Geneva, the cabin walls felt like they were closing in. His baby daughter Lily was screaming with all the strength her tiny lungs could muster. She was 6 months old and had been wailing for nearly an hour. The sound was sharp, endless, cutting through the soft hum of the engines. First-class passengers turned their heads, groaning and sighing. Some covered their ears. Others glared at Pascal like he had done it on purpose. Pascal Croft was a man who owned towers in London, offices in New York, and factories in Berlin. He commanded thousands of employees with a single word. But at that moment, he was just a father with sweat on his forehead, rocking his baby back and forth, whispering every soothing line he could remember. Nothing worked. He tried humming. He tried walking her up and down the aisle. He even offered her the expensive formula packed in his bag, but Lily only shrieked louder. "Can you please do something about that, baby?" A woman in pearls hissed from across the aisle. Her voice was low but sharp like a knife. "I'm trying," Pascal muttered. His usual deep, confident tone sounded broken now. He was exhausted. "Some of us paid $10,000 for peace and quiet." The woman snapped. The flight attendant came over, bending low with a forced smile. "Mr. Croft, is everything all right? Do you need assistance?" He wanted to shout that of course everything was not all right. He wanted to say that money could buy private jets, but it could not buy sleep, and it could not silence a baby who only wanted comfort. But he just shook his head and tried again, rocking Lily against his chest. Before we continue with this story, let us know where you're watching from. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel, like and share this video to someone, and leave a comment about what you think of today's story. Now back to the story. That was when a voice drifted from behind him, not from first class, but from the curtain that separated first class from economy. "Excuse me, sir," the voice said. It was young, uncertain, but clear. "I think I can help." Pascal turned, frowning. Standing there was a skinny black teenager, maybe 16, with short hair and a nervous look in his eyes. He wore a hoodie with faded letters that read Baltimore City Schools. His sneakers were scuffed, his jeans loose. He didn't belong in first class, and the way passengers stared made that painfully obvious. The flight attendant stepped forward, her polished smile stretched tight. "Sir, you can't be in this cabin." "I know," the boy said quickly. He lifted his hands in a small surrender. "I'm sorry, but I have a baby sister back home. She used to cry like that all night long. I know a trick. It might work." Pascal hesitated. He had stood on world stages commanding the respect of governments and CEOs. He was used to being the man who had all the answers. And yet here he was reduced to desperation in front of strangers, begging for peace. A billionaire CEO brought low by the simple, endless wails of his infant daughter. The thoughts stung his pride, but Lily's cries broke him down. Her little face was red, twisted in misery, her tiny fists flailing against the air. His arms, no matter how tightly he held her, brought no comfort. He looked at the boy again. The kid's eyes were wide, but not mocking, not arrogant, just honest, open and full of a strange confidence that felt older than his years. And in those eyes, Pascal saw something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. "What's your name?" Pascal asked quietly. "Leo," the boy said softly. "Leo Vance." Pascal nodded, swallowing his pride. "All right, Leo, show me." The passengers murmured at once, like a wave of whispers moving through the cabin. Some rolled their eyes, scoffing at the idea that a teenager could do what adults had failed to. Others leaned forward, curiosity flickering in their expressions. Leo stepped closer, moving carefully, almost reverently. He held out his arms, palms up, and asked, "May I?" Pascal hesitated only a second, then gently passed his daughter into the boy's arms. The moment Leo held Lily, his movements changed. The awkwardness of a teenager melted away, replaced by something practiced, natural. He tucked her close to his chest, supporting her tiny head against his shoulder. He began to sway slow, steady, like a tree rocking in the wind. Then he started to hum, not a lullaby from a music box, not some polished tune. It was raw and human, a deep, steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. His chest vibrated against Lily's ear as he hummed. His fingers tapped lightly on her back, matching the rhythm as though drumming on invisible strings. And then, as if by magic, the crying slowed. Lily's fists unclenched, her red cheeks softened, her body relaxed against his chest. Within a minute, her cries faded into soft whimpers, then into silence. She pressed her cheek against Leo's shoulder, sucking gently on her fist. Peace at last. The entire cabin went silent. People blinked in disbelief. The woman in pearls, who had earlier muttered about children in first class, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. The businessman across the aisle lowered his phone, his recording forgotten. The flight attendant's fake smile cracked into genuine surprise. And Pascal, the billionaire who had closed deals worth billions, who had commanded armies of employees, who had bent markets to his will, stood there with his mouth slightly open. How did you do that?" he whispered. Leo shrugged shyly. "My baby sister Mia, she had colic, cried for hours every night. I had to figure it out. Otherwise, nobody in the house got any sleep. It's just rhythm. Babies like rhythm. Makes them feel safe." Pascal sank into his seat, running a trembling hand over his face. Relief swept through him like a tide. For the first time since takeoff, he could breathe. "Thank you," he said harshly. "You're a miracle." Leo blushed, shifting awkwardly. "It's nothing, sir. Just something I picked up." But it wasn't nothing. Everyone in that cabin knew it. And deep down, so did Pascal. As the plane quieted and Lily drifted into a light sleep against Leo's chest, Pascal finally looked at the boy properly. He wasn't just some teenager from economy class. He was calm, steady, even gentle in a way Pascal rarely saw in adults. "What brings you on this flight, Leo?" Pascal asked. "Family trip." Leo shook his head. "No, sir. I'm going to Geneva. There's an international math competition. I'm one of the finalists." Pascal blinked. "A competition?" "Yes, sir," Leo said. His voice was modest, almost shy. "I love math. Been working on it since I was little. My teachers nominated me. The community raised money for my ticket." The billionaire's brow furrowed. "Your community paid for your ticket?" Leo nodded. "They all chipped in. People from church, my neighbors, even my old math teacher. They wanted me to have a shot. I'm the first from my school to ever get this far." For a moment, Pascal felt something stirred deep inside him, a memory. He had grown up poor himself in a cramped two-bedroom flat in Manchester. His parents had worked in factories, scraping together pennies. He remembered long nights studying by the dim light of a street lamp outside his window. Because the electricity had been cut again, he had clawed his way to wealth with grit and sleepless nights. And now here was this boy from East Baltimore carrying that same fire. When the flight attendants tried to usher Leo back to economy, Pascal raised his hand. "Wait, sit with me, Leo. Please, you've earned it." So Leo stayed in first class for the rest of the flight, with Lily nestled peacefully in his arms. By the time they landed in Geneva, something had changed between the two. Pascal was no longer just a CEO, and Leo no longer just a boy from Baltimore. No longer just a boy from Baltimore. They were two people who had met in the most unlikely way, joined by the cries of a baby. In Geneva, Pascal faced a problem. His schedule was full of meetings, dinners, and presentations. He had no nanny with him, no one to watch Lily. He could hire someone, of course. Money could buy anything. But trust was harder. And his daughter had already shown who she trusted most on that plane, Leo. Pascal said one morning as they stood outside the Grand Hotel. The cobblestones glistened from last night's rain, and the Alps loomed faintly in the distance. "I need help with Lily. You clearly have a gift. If you're willing, I'll pay you to watch her while I work." Leo blinked, startled. "Me? Sir, I'm just here for the competition. I don't know if you calmed my daughter when no one else could." "That means more than any resume," Pascal said firmly. His tone softened. "Besides, I want to hear more about this competition of yours." And so it began. By day, Leo competed in the international math event. By night, he helped care for Lily. The boy amazed Pascal. He solved problems with creativity no one expected. When other students used formulas, Leo used stories. He turned numbers into puzzles that felt alive. He said his neighborhood taught him to see patterns. Patterns in traffic lights, in the way people moved, in how bills stacked up. He turned survival into mathematics. Watching him, Pascal felt something he had not felt in years. Pride. Not in himself, not in his wealth, but in someone else's rise. One quiet night, as Leo rocked Lily to sleep in the hotel room, Pascal sat across from him, nursing a cup of coffee. "You remind me of myself, you know," Pascal said softly. Leo looked up, surprised. "You? But you're you. Billionaire, private jets, hotels." Pascal chuckled, though there was sadness in his eyes. "All built from scratch. My parents had nothing. I had to fight for every step." He leaned forward. "And I see the same fight in you. You're not just solving math problems, Leo. You're solving life." Leo said nothing at first, but the words sank deep. The competition came down to the final day. The grand hall was breathtaking. Flags from dozens of countries lined the walls, and students from China, India, the UK, and beyond filled the seats. Judges sat at the front, sharpied, ready to test every mind. Leo stood at the podium. His hands trembled slightly, but his eyes were steady. The problem was given a complex equation tied to real-world economics. Most students attacked it with long formulas, writing furiously across their papers. The air buzzed with the scratching of pens and the click of calculators. But Leo paused, closed his eyes, and thought of home, of his mother juggling bills at the kitchen table, of grocery store receipts, of how numbers determined whether the fridge was full or empty, of how math wasn't just theory, it was survival. He opened his eyes and explained his solution, not in abstract symbols, but in stories. He showed how numbers told the truth about real lives, how math could keep food on the table. The judges leaned forward, the room grew hushed, and when Leo finished, applause thundered through the hall. He had tears filled his eyes as he clutched the medal. The boy from East Baltimore had defeated the best in the world. In the back of the hall, Pascal stood with Lily in his arms, smiling wider than he had in years. When Leo came down from the stage, the billionaire gripped his shoulder tightly. His voice broke as he said, "You've done it, son." That night, in the quiet of the hotel, Pascal made his decision. "Leo," he said, "I want to fund your education, all of it. College, grad school, whatever you want. And when you're ready, there will be a place for you at my company. You've earned it." Leo's mouth fell open. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Pascal said gently, "because this isn't charity, it's an investment. One day, you'll change the world, and I want to be there when you do." Leo nodded slowly, tears sliding down his cheeks. "Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much." And as Lily giggled in his arms, Pascal realized something. The boy who had calmed his daughter on a plane had also calmed something in him, a loneliness he hadn't known how to quiet. From that day forward, their lives were bound together. A billionaire, a poor black boy, and a baby who cried until compassion walked in. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness, like holding a child, can open doors to futures no one imagined. What do you think about this story? Leave a comment below this video. Thanks for watching, and God bless. And God bless.